Hey listeners, it's Paul Andriola here. Why not join our community at Small Cap Discoveries, where we offer our members direct access to some of the best microcap investment opportunities available. Our members are getting access to premium microcap financings, research reports, and direct access to management. Sign up today at www.smallcapdiscoveries.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Small Cap Discoveries conference call. Today on our call, we have the CEO, Pradip Banerjee from Xybion Digital. Xybion trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol XYBN. The company is currently trading at 60 cents with about 52 million shares outstanding, or about a $31.5 million market cap. I'd now like to hand it over to Paul Andriola.
Hey, thanks a lot, Trevor. Yes, great to have Dr. Pradip Banerjee with us today. Xybion's a company that we sort of stumbled on probably about 3 or 4 months ago. And timing has worked out real well because their latest financials just came out a couple of days ago. So we're able to get updated on that. So Dr. Banerjee, welcome. Great to have you with us today. We're just going to hand it over to you. You've got a presentation. So why don't we just let you roll with it?
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Trevor. Pradip is fine. You don't need the Dr. Banerjee part, but thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for everybody who is listening to me. So Xybion is actually focused on digital enablement of what you call highly regulated companies, which are literally pharmaceutical, biotech, lab products, so that we can help all this new discovery, whether it's a new COVID vaccine or a new cancer therapy or brand new treatment of some other diseases. So that's what we help our companies. That's our client companies. That's our value proposition. So I'll take you through highlights of the company, including financials as it stands now. So let me go through the legal disclaimers part of it. As a public company, I have to do that. I'm assuming you're all fast readers. You read these 2 pages very quickly. So Xybion at a glance is this. So we are a profitable global software as a service company. So I want to take it slowly. So the companies in the software business at our stage of growth, most of them are not really profitable. So that's what I want to stress as well. At the same time, we are focusing on research and development of this biotech pharmaceutical companies, as I said, so that we can bring this medicines, life-saving medicines, to the patients faster, which requires a very stringent regulatory process, mostly through the US Food and Drug Administration. So that's why we focused on it must be compliant in a highly complex regulatory world. At the same time, collect the scientific and research and development data and all other documentation to prove that the data and the documentations are actually true. There is no fraud, no other untrained or unvalidated information is passing through. So everything is to a very high quality standard. So that's what we do. Quick highlights of our company results. As of June 30th, 2023, if we look back trailing 12 months, so our revenues are almost 17 million, but these numbers are in US dollar. That's what I wanted to also mention. These are not Canadian dollar, although we trade in Canada in Canadian dollars. So that's something you got to keep in mind. Out of that, 10.6 million is annualized recurring return, which is mostly focused by the investors as well. And that is about 62% of our total revenue. And that is growing. And the growth is primarily through our subscription or the SaaS revenue model. We have enterprise software products. So some of the legacy customers still pay maintenance and all of that. So we're no longer selling the traditional way of licensing software. We declared about 3 years back to start this journey to software as a service subscription only model. So that takes time to convert all of that. But that's our growth side of it, 20% plus. And we have 0 debt. As of the June 30th date, we have almost $6.7 million US dollars on hand on our balance sheet. And today we have 160 plus customers in 29 countries and very high retention rate. And it's also driven by our strict adherence to the Food and Drug Administration regulations, which are very strict. So the changing over is also difficult. So we need to make sure everything is always right. And in 29 countries, I already mentioned. So I already mentioned the core of our products and technology is what is called very low code. Means you don't have to write codes when a customer wants to customize their process, their workflows, which historically took a lot of time and tremendous amount of cost to do that. So that's really one aspect of it. And the other aspect is with our platform with multiple products, which are necessary to get through the research and development and compliance process, we are at a position to actually displace or replace multiple software products being used by the customers. Typically, in order to move through this research and development phase of our domain, customers have 8 to 12 different softwares they use depending on the size of their company. And today we can replace all of them. I think that's a very tremendous statement that we have built this excellent platform and the products that goes on it. And it's all unified, meaning from the same database, the same code base, all of the 5 that are at the bottom of the slide. I call them research and development execution system. It's not just one thing, it's multiple things that adds up to this end-to-end from discovery through preclinical, meaning before they are put into the human trials. All of these needs to be in a very standardized process with a strict level of compliance and documentation. And then they have all kinds of other laboratories beyond the R&D where they are testing materials, analyzing things. And those needs to be also, these are generally called LIMS category, LIMS, LIMS software type of platform. So they have electronic lab notebook and the scientific data and other process and analytics that has to be done. We also have a patent on how to predict how the next compliance audit or inspection from FDA could look like. And that is, we used, even before this current rage about ChatGPT and others, we started using some form of artificial AI and machine learning to understand the FDA's inspection pattern based on their pronouncements and enforcement pattern. We can give a prediction of how the next inspection could look like for our customers and whether they're going to get any citations or any other problem with it. So we have a full suite of what's called quality management, where you have to document that all your people are fully trained for what they're doing, all the equipment and instruments you are doing are fully what's called validation. That means it will repeat the same result, same standard at multiple labs, whether it's an FDA lab or a US lab or some other country's lab. So that's very strict adherence, and it will comply through an inspection and audit. It can record any non-conformance or deviation from the standards, and also record any corrective actions or preventive actions you are taking. So all of those are fully documented in a document management system we have. And at the same time, over the last 3 or 4 years, all of us get to understand the value of how to keep the workplace healthy and safe for all our employees and for all people that are involved with it. So we have created a workplace health and safety module on the same cloud platform, which is also very valuable because it's working in a regulated environment. So all these 5 things makes up our product offering. That's what we do, bring it together, and the value proposition is we can minimize their cost, replace multiple software by a single platform. And I talked about financial profile and our recurring revenue. So to take the next step to deep dive into what we do and the problems we solve, the drug development life cycle is too long. Typically, it takes 12 years plus. That's the kind of standard way of saying it. But some of this needs to be faster, and it's fragmented. That's why it's very difficult to bring everything together. The existing softwares and other processes, it's very difficult to integrate and move and bring it together. So there are all kinds of siloed operations and products that are in the mix. These are our competitive products by each verticals, but they don't come together. They don't bring it together. They don't have a single platform, but we do. That's why we think we have a very unique offering in terms of how we can digitize the entire process. And this is the focus of most of the pharmaceutical and biotech companies today, especially after COVID. which actually focused the breakdown between people who have to go to work at the manufacturing site or in the R&D lab. They could not work remote, plus the people who are normally there, but they were not there during the COVID time. People who will take care of the documents, the audits, and recording of FDA requirements, they were remote, but it was very difficult to put these things together. So that's why there's a heightened focus on bringing everything together in the cloud. That's what we bring. And plus our patented predictive compliance is also very important. So these are the 5 product brands we use: Pristima, LabWise, CQRM, and Evidence, and ECM. And that covers the entire spectrum from the research, development, manufacturing, quality, and compliance, and keeping through the HR system to keep our employees healthy and safe. So that's our solutions bring together. And as I mentioned, by doing so on a single platform, we're able to displace 6 to 12 different software that they need by a single software, which reduces cost, typically by more than 30%, and reduces the time it takes because it's efficient. You don't have too many hand-ups. And by not having hand-ups, it minimizes the FDA inspection risks, which slows things down as well. So that's our value proposition to our clients. And I don't want to drill into it, but I was going to show what these 12 things look like. This is a step-by-step. Each of them is a department from research and development until human clinical trials are started. Most typically, it will be a different department using a different software. Today from Xybion, it's color-coded to show that we can address all of them. That's our very unique value proposition with full compliance and full FDA approval process support that we have here. So that's our business. That's what we do in detail. And our uniqueness, I highlighted here some of the lead competition for each of the product verticals. As you can see, with the exception for one company, which we use like as a business model, this company is Veeva, V-E-E-V, New York Stock Exchange listed company. They started similarly, but they started with a leased platform from Salesforce, Salesforce.com's technology platform. And on top of that, they built some clinical trial applications and other applications. But this concept is similar. On a single platform, they built multiple things, and they have grown very rapidly over last decade or so, more than that. So they're now about a $2.5 billion company, starting about 15 years ago, slightly larger than our size today. So that's the proof of the business model, that by bringing together multiple softwares on a single platform, serving them onto the cloud, there's a huge demand for it, and the clients like it. So except for Veeva, in our chosen, we don't have any overlap with Veeva. That's the good news. So for our chosen domain, Xybion has all of those on a single platform, so others don't. We're now beginning to win against all of these companies. And these are all very significant companies, have changed hands at a very high multiple of their revenues. For example, in 2022, Sparta Systems, which is a quality software company, was bought by Honeywell. Sparta was about a $100 million revenue company. Honeywell paid about 1.3 or $1.4 billion, so 12 to 14 times multiple of the revenue. So that's kind of the background setting of what we are dealing with and what our distinctions are. And our strategic vision is to provide this digital transformation, provide the end-to-end cloud platform to serve R&D, labs, health, and safety with that, reduce cost of ownership, and also support the entire digital business model for all our clients' companies globally. We can serve up single cloud globally at this point. That's the very unique part of it. And how I got here is through also a different pathway. So it's vision-driven. My background is previous to coming to Xybion. I'm actually the founding managing partner of Accenture's life sciences research and development business, which I started from scratch. And it's today pushing, I think it's exceeding $1 billion range in revenue. And the success formula for that was to show that we can handle this end-to-end business, all processes at scale. Accenture had that scale. And that's how I came together. I hold a PhD in pharmaceutical sciences from University of Wisconsin, and also an MBA from the Wharton School of University of Pennsylvania. So and worked for pharmaceutical companies like Abbott Lab and SmithKline, GlaxoSmithKline, before joining Accenture to build that. So I took that same learning to build this end-to-end on a software basis. And rather than building everything from scratch, we decided we're going to buy companies. The first company we bought was named Xybion. We kept the brand name Xybion, but added everything else. So after buying the Xybion, which is called preclinical toxicology pathology software, then I bought a company in Quebec, Canada, for a quality management software. We integrated that into that core R&D platform of Xybion. Then I bought another company from GE Healthcare, which was outside of Philadelphia. And then they had the compliance software and the ability to implement this software. So by integrating them, we had the beginning of the end-to-end. But as you all know, today and over the last 10 years, everything needed to be in the cloud. So we decided to build our own cloud, similar to Google's cloud architecture, to modernize all of that. So we rewrote the company software that we bought from Canada and Quebec onto this platform. So we modernized everything into this new cloud architecture. And these are all released in production. So we have proven that it works. The technology works and the functionality works with clients. These are at various large and small companies. Now is the time to repeat the cycle, to accelerate the organic growth through these 160 plus customers we have, and also do selective M&A to repeat this cycle. So we know how to start from a strategy-driven acquisition and then grow them, both organically and also through M&A strategy. So that's our business model. And so as the revenue model is software as a service, and heavy focus on this 160 plus clients to bridge what we call the white space. So most of these customers historically have one or two of our product modules. But now we have, as you can see that, we have 10 plus things you can sell them. So there's a very good opportunity to do focused farming on strategic account management to grow that. At the same time, we also will remain focused on gaining new clients through our new offerings and new products. So that's, and especially biotechs are a very good target for us. Initially, they don't have any infrastructure. By just using Xybion, they can bypass their need for buying too many softwares or having even an IT department. This thing is served up in the cloud. So that's what we're doing. And our strategy is also focused on selective M&A, but we want to be always positive cash flow. So the targets are always, it should be accretive to the P&L and be synergistic with one of our business lines. So that's what we have a pipeline we're working through at this point. And given our current financial performance and positive cash flow, that should be very helpful to us. We have a standing line of credit with the National Bank of Canada, which is a $10 million delayed draw to support M&A activities. So that's standing by. That's quite helpful to have that. So that's basically our strategy. I gave you my background already. I have a very experienced management team in place. All of them are long experienced. Our COO came from similar to Infosys consulting head. And so he has been with us for last almost 6 years now, plus 20 plus other experience. Our CFO has been with the original Xybion that I acquired for over 30 years. So that's the longevity of and stability of our company. And others are equally long-time experienced team. So that's basically a wrap. So why Xybion? You have the growth benefit of a modern cloud software, yet somewhat of a reduced risk of knowing the proven solutions are already implemented. It's very timely in today's all digital world. Very large target addressable market, as large as 60 billion, and by various different categories. Who is who of the customers? The top 20 pharmaceutical companies are our customers, including US FDA, which is also our customer. They use our software to test anything we submit to them. US Army Medical Research Command, which uses a lot of medical research, biological research. They use our software to do this. So that's basically the background. We're poised to grow. we're poised to do both organic and other things, and look forward to your support and participation in our company. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Pradip. I want to remind everybody that's listening, if you've got a question you'd like me to ask Pradip, please use the chat function, and I'll do my best to ask that question. Just a couple things here. By the way, a fantastic presentation, covered off a lot of my questions. But the company, I guess, technically founded in 2008. It sounds like.
Well, I bought the company because Xybion, the core Xybion company, was founded in 1977. So
right.
So it's a continuously running 45 years company at its core, but the whole thing has changed. So I bought it from the original founder, actually, in 2008.
Right.
So from 2008, it's under my stewardship, but the original company is 45 years old at this point.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for clearing that up. And that's what I really meant was under your stewardship or your control, 2008, you started to sort of consolidate these different businesses. But the company just went public not too long ago. I think about a year
2021,
ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. 2 years ago. It tells us a little bit about the go public process. I can't remember when we spoke last if you actually raised money or not. I don't think you raised money, or if you did, it wasn't a large amount at that point. Maybe refresh my memory.
That's correct. So one of the things we explored how to grow strategy. So one strategy obviously is venture capital, private equity, all of that. But we wanted to control our own destiny, and I self-funded all of that. So at this point I owned everything at that point and took all the risk, and it's debt-free at this point. So I knew some people in the investment banking world in Canada through my prior exposures. To talk to them at that point, Stifel took the lead, and they said, look, the Canadian market is now very good for technology companies, especially American companies coming here. We want to support you on all that. It looked very good when we started the conversation, but then the market overall changed by the time we were ready to go. But for me, the value of a public stock is really twofold. One is to leverage it as a currency to do further acquisition. And second is to attract talent, because we could give a public stock options. We had a private stock options in place, but for the private stock options to come to money, I have to sell the company. Otherwise, our staff don't get the money. So having a public equity is good to attract talent. So those are the two arguments. So it's a strategic move, even though the market was not helpful. I said we will go public. So we go public by a RTO process, by backing into a CPC called Gravitas One, which was offered through Gravitas Securities. So that was the mechanism. So we had a very small amount of cash in Gravitas One, about $1 million Canadian, and Stifel and Gravitas managed about a $2 million small private placement, which was just about enough to pay the lawyers, basically, to leave some cash on our hand. So that's basically it, and it's a small float. But TSXV allowed us to go public because we had this agreement with them, that all of that. So that's basically the history of how we came to the TSXV market.
Perfect. So you're kind of driving towards where I was going to go with this. What was the price of the financing that was done? It was significantly higher than where the stock's trading at right now, I believe.
$3.20.
$3.20, and I think last I saw the stock's trading around 60 cents right now.
Yeah, so it had some collapse. It may be connected with Gravitas Securities challenges in the marketplace and all of that, plus the general
the
technical
general
downdraft.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you've self-funded this the whole time. You did a little bit of a raise in the market, and I can't remember if I saw in the presentation, but you're obviously a very significant shareholder of the company. What's the insider ownership as a percentage of the overall business?
Yeah, there's only 3% in the public float. The remainder is inside ownership, primarily myself.
And again, if I remember correctly, are there two classes of shares here, or is it?
Yeah, it's actually, that's the other part of it. So we're an American company. So for tax purposes, IRS wants everything to be classified as an American company. So there is no way out of that. So we have that. But the other part is that if you're listed with an American management and shareholders in America, US SEC also will have jurisdiction. So this was the legal advice to create a compressed share structure, so that we don't become subject to SEC reporting at all. So we qualify as a foreign private issuer for the US purposes. For the Canadian purpose, it doesn't matter. So that's why we created an extreme compression structures for the shares I hold, basically. And SEC only counts the absolute number of shares. They don't take the overall share value. So that's why we have those two. Otherwise, there's no economic difference or any voting share difference. Every share is one vote. Every share is one economic interest. But it looks that way because we want to be foreign private issuer and not have to take another cost to report SEC 10Ks, 10Qs every quarter.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. When we talk about sort of the sales process, so how do you sell into either a new customer, or do you sell multiple licenses into these? These are large organizations, a lot of times with a number of different research facilities and sort of almost sub facilities within these organizations. How do you sell to these guys?
Yeah, our selling proposition is the number of named users and the number of modules they're using. That's how it's priced, right? And we sell both ways. We have focused on the existing customers to manage the relationship and talk to them about other products, other offerings we are doing. So that's the way from trying to sell from inside, which is the farming approach. That's about 75% of our revenue. New revenues come through our existing clients. And the other parts come from new sales, which we have marketing and technology-driven search engine optimizations, the Google tricks, and all of those parts of it lead up to leads coming through our website, and also have a sales team for both promoting new opportunities and the closing the sales for new logos, and through trade shows and webinars and all of those. That's how sales come through.
You're like, what's your capability? Now I'll go back to sort of the M&A strategy that you have. You've acquired several companies already. What do you see as potential requirements? You need new technologies to fill out your sort of products, or I mean, are you kind of down on the M&A side?
We don't need the technology. It's really twofold. One is to bulk up the revenue. So we actually don't need the technology. Our target are companies that are not at the cutting edge of technology, which becomes high risk and high cost. So we're looking for companies that are going to be a good fit client-wise and put the revenue, and we can upgrade them to our technology. So that's one part of it. The other part of our focus is a geographic footprint opportunity. So we did this company build up in 29 countries, but sitting in Princeton, New Jersey, we had no boots on the ground anywhere in any other country outside of US and Canada. So it's now time to put some boots on the ground in other countries, especially in Europe, because we have large customer base and large opportunity, including US. We're looking for same type of companies. So those are the two things. And in order to grow rapidly from here, I need more talent. So these companies would have the people that are currently running a business. They know the subject matter. So if I find them right from the people and the talent part of it, that's a gain for us. And we keep the revenue, cut the overhead, because we have all the infrastructure and the system in Xybion. So there is synergy from that. So that's the strategy we're following. And they must be cash flow positive on day one, no cash burn after paying the acquisition price.
Gotcha. So, I mean, it sounds like you've got a lot of geographical expansion sort of opportunities. How do you go about sort of filling the pipeline of opportunities? And then do you feel comfortable that you're in a position to do that? I mean, you've got
You
about
mean the
60
M&A pipeline?
Yeah, the M&A pipeline. Yeah.
Yeah, we work with a couple of buy-side brokers
Okay.
for sourcing these kind of opportunities, both actively and passively. They will pass things to me if they think it's interesting. Others, I've told them, do a focused search, because we want something in the LIMS area, we want something in the quality area, R&D area. So they're doing that, and if that fits our criteria, then we're engaging.
And do you feel comfortable that you've got the sort of the capacity to do that, either on a financial basis or the due diligence and integration that you need to do with these typical acquisitions? Do you have everything you need?
Yeah, at this point, financing wise, I mentioned to you our line of credit, our own cash. That's in the stock market looks not friendly to raise money, but as soon as this allows something, we'll raise that capital as well. So to finance that, I'm okay. That's good enough for the type of companies you're looking at and the revenue base. And in terms of carrying it out financially and technically, we have done that. We have inside people who understand what they're looking at, and then supporting from outside, from legal and financial due diligence from accounting and other firms. So that's where we have a network now in place. We can execute without having to have a full-time staff doing just this and carry the high payroll for that.
Gotcha. And back a little bit to the sales process, or one question I didn't ask is what's typical sales cycle? How long does it typically take to land a new client and sort of process the client?
If it's a large pharmaceutical company, to start from scratch, it's more than a year process. And before that, assuming we have some relationships, that's what they give us the opportunity. So if you had nothing to start, the barrier is to pass through the procurement department, which is the gatekeeper, and to get to and become an approved vendor and then have a master services agreement. So that takes a long time. And then the legal process of doing all of those takes another layer of time. But once you're through with that, then a new opportunities, the users can straight come to us, buy it, because all the legalese and everything is in place. That takes, on average, 3 months, because they will do their diligence, and we have to do presentations, this, that. Smaller companies like biotech, it's 3 to 6 months. So that's kind of the window for us.
Gotcha. And random question: how many employees? How big is the company right now, as far as employees?
We have, give or take, about 150 plus employees.
Oh wow! Okay.
Heavily in North America and in India. Our technical operation groups are actually in India and here in North America. About 60 plus people here, about close to 100 plus over in India.
Okay, perfect. And then just generally, I mean, it seems like the business is going fairly well. You're growing, you're cash flowing, you're making money. But what sort of keeps you up at night? What challenges does the business face?
Well, the challenge is for us is now to grow and make sure all our existing clients, these are large companies, are happy. There's always something in the software business. It's never a dull moment. So that's basically what I worry about, how to keep our customers happy. So we refocused our sales organization to we call them customer success organization, literally at this point, but that's their focus. I think that's it. How to keep happy clients. They give new business. These large companies have too much money. So if they're happy, we'll grow.
Exactly. It's always a good way to put it. Keep your customers happy and good things happen. So if we look forward, where do you see this company in 5 years, and even further, is there an exit strategy here, or do you see something different for Xybion?
Yeah, well, the way I put the strategy together for our company is similar to what Microsoft and others had at the beginning. So Microsoft hasn't exited. It's the same company. So they're the last, I call the last person standing strategy. So we'll buy companies and we will make sure we have a full portfolio to serve our customers' need in a focused way. We don't want to go too far into too many places. And if we remain a public company, that's fine. That's a built-in exit strategy right there. We don't have to sell it off to anybody.
Sure.
And if you are attractive enough by acquisition and growth, then you're a good target for other private equity and other companies who are paying good multiples for our stock. So those basically are two pathways. So either we continue the core strategy and the public market will catch up and reward, and we go kind of graduate either to TSX or NASDAQ or something like that, or private equity will buy out our shares at a very good multiple price, which is the market price today.
Yeah.
So that's the exit strategy. No personal need to sell off immediately, cash-wise and anything. Xybion has cash, so it doesn't have the need to just sell off anything at any price. So that's our strategy, really. Of course, there's exit strategy for the right price.
Of course, perfect. Now, I mean, by all indications, certainly by more than just a cursory look, the company appears to be quite cheap. What do you think? Yeah, what do you think the market is not understanding, or what do you think the market's getting wrong to price it where it is right now?
Well, that's a billion-dollar question, so I don't have a full answer to it. I think it's a couple of factors. One is probably this disruption caused by what about our backing of the investment banker side of it? So that caused process probably sold up. Second was this fiasco with the auditors. So in July, when we were about to get ready to report our last fiscal annual report, which ended March 31. So by TSXV rule, we have 120 days. And after 90 days, our previous auditors informed us they were disqualified by Canadian Public Accounting Board. And so this told us you got to find a new auditor, man. And with 30 days to go, or less than 30 days to go, you can't close it. So we found a new auditor, which is now in Vancouver, Davidson and Company, and they took their time to, it's a new client and they wanted to have their own process and that. So this created a financial information vacuum for almost 9 months plus. We had no communication since February. That was the last time we released our December 31 quarterly results. And then on October 16th, and then we had to request a management cease trade order because that's what BCSC wanted, since we couldn't file, is that the management cannot trade, which you don't trade anyway. But all of those may have created a taboo in the marketplace, and during this time, we're not doing any communications because we had nothing to say. It's still financial data and nothing else we can share. And because of all these problems, we couldn't execute the M&A strategy that we could have. But so those are the parts that probably I need to communicate better with the investor group and all of that. So this is a good beginning. Hopefully, through your channel, we get to communicate to the clients and get going. Plus, the other part is, I think, our small float. We've got to find a way to increase that float so there is good trade in the market. But if the price is so depressed, it doesn't make sense to sell shares that quickly. So I think those are my understanding of the issue. But we'll address it as soon as we get some opening.
Perfect. I think appreciate that. And then looking forward, how do us investors? What do you think we should pay the most attention to, or is there any kind of catalysts that you can think of that we should pay attention for? Like, what metrics or catalysts should we watch out for in, say, 2024?
I think it's the same thing, really. So uniqueness for us is profitable growth. Not growth at any cost, because you can push the growth and have a huge cash burn and companies at risk. So it's a very low risk approach. So keep an eye on it, and the revenue growth, whether by organic growth and it's actually annualized or soft as the subscription growth, right? That's what we're focusing on, that part, as opposed to the total revenue. And look for any inorganic growth as we go slowly in that direction.
Gotcha. So just standard, grow your business and look for some opportunities on the M&A side.
Yeah. We're gaining clients. We periodically make press releases. So we have established some channel partnerships. So those are kind of forward performance indicator.
Mhm.
So that's there. We have a couple of partnerships which are bringing new sales opportunities to us from their salespeople.
Perfect. Well, that's great. Well, listen, I think we've kind of wrapped up the questions that we've got. Great presentation. As far as a sort of a takeaway message, is there any key message you want to make sure everybody walks away with today?
Yeah, so Xybion is in a very distinguished niche area in pharmaceutical research development, bringing life-saving medicines, helping our clients to bring in life-saving medicines to market, at the same time maintaining a profitable growth in a cloud-driven software world. So that's our pitch, and looking forward to grow and support our shareholders and grow further from there. And thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Pradip. We've been speaking with Pradip Banerjee of Xybion Digital, symbol XYBN on the Venture Exchange. Pradip, thank you so much for joining us. And listen, we really look forward to catching up in the future as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let me know what the next steps are.
You bet. You
Talk
bet.
to you soon. Bye now.
Thank you so much. Bye now.